got introduced to you after working with cultures that were from honor shame societies. To just pick this subject up is very unusual. Usually there's some type of thing that's behind it that makes you want to learn about honor and shame. What was that for you?
Well, when I was doing my doctoral studies, and just honestly casting about for a dissertation, because we all do it. We all cast about for a dissertation. I was introduced to this book called The Social World of Luke Acts that was edited by Jerome Neri, and it had it kind of brought together a whole bunch of different cultural anthropological models and applied them to thinking through the New Testament text, Luke and Acts. So one chapter was on honor and shame, another was on deviancy, which is actually very much related, deviancy control techniques and what have you. Another was on patronage, somewhere on the household and what have you. So I read a few more such works, like Bruce Molina's The New Testament World. I think that was the 1993 edition, so it was pretty fresh at the time. And I knew I wanted to work on Hebrews because I really loved that text. It was such a theologically rich text and just frankly so beautifully put together. It's the rhetorical gem in the New Testament, and I really like rhetorical criticism. So I focused on it, and I just sat down and read through the Greek text multiple times, Xeroxed, with pens, different colored pens, and I just underlined all the parts that seemed to relate to considerations of honor, dishonor, disgrace, concern with the opinions of others. That was read. Everything that seemed to have to do with patronage and reciprocity relations and obligations and how you respond when you've received a great gift and what have you, and how you don't respond, that was purple. Everything having to do with kinship values, the ethos of living together as kin, and then everything to do with purity, dealing with defilement, ritual, crossing boundaries that people don't typically cross, priestly boundaries versus lay and what have you, and a bunch of others. Those weren't the only colors, but those were so rich that kind of became my dissertation, honor and shame, with a good dose of how does thinking about God and Christ as our patron and our mediator and our obligation to give back to them as they've given and not show disloyalty, because it will make our lives easier, but it will besmirch God's honor if we say to our neighbors, yeah, y'all were kind of right. It's better to have your approval than your disapproval while witnessing to the one God and his Messiah. And then I kept working with those areas in the first few years I was teaching, and I just wanted to really deepen it. So that's it. That's where the book came from. A lot more reading in primary texts, because I didn't want to base what I did on modern cultural anthropology. I wanted to root it in classical literature and the Jewish scriptures and what have you, Second Temple literature, and really kind of rethink these models from a first century Roman imperial setting, and also kind of spread out that interest then beyond Hebrews to the rest of the New Testament canon. That was a long answer. Sorry, I monologued. No. I was monologuing. You caught me monologuing again. I see what you did.